My name is Officer Shannon Irish. I'm a police officer of the city of Sioux Falls, and I'm a canine handler. Our canine unit has 5 dogs and handlers. There's 3 different aspects that we use our dogs for. The first would be narcotics detection, finding illegal street drugs, or having our dogs trained to sniff the odor of illegal street drugs. That would be in vehicles, search warrants, and other locations. We also have explosive detection dogs that can find explosive materials, firearms, or shell casings. And then the third is a patrol dog. And the patrol dog is a tool that can help us apprehend violent suspects, find evidence at crime scenes, or track individuals. We typically use specific breeds of dogs, and those are the herding dogs, which are dogs such as the Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd, Dutch Shepherd. There are other breeds. For detection dogs, you can use other breeds such as the hunting breeds, like Labrador Retrievers, Golden Retrievers, or Pointers. The dogs typically that we get are dual purpose, means they are trained in a detection, either explosive detection or narcotics detection, and then a patrol dog as well. So they're dual purpose. They can't be trained on both drugs and explosives. They can only be trained on one of the odors. The selection process starts with the dogs being at least 1.5 years old. We want to make sure they're old enough and mature enough to where they're done growing and they're mature enough to handle the rigorous training. The process for the detection side is 6 to 8 weeks long, and the patrol training, initial training, is also 6 to 8 weeks long. So typically a dual purpose dog takes at least 4 months to get trained in the initial training. We're also required to, and we live up to the standard of training a minimum of 8 hours a week with our dogs, just to keep them up to speed.
I'm Officer Grant Van Vorst. I've been with the K-9 unit for about 8 years. Currently I have a K-9 named Hugo. Hugo is a dual purpose, both narcotics and patrol. We have the K-9s that come home with us and they live with us. We have kennels for them, indoor, outdoor kennels that we have been provided by the police department. What they do is when we bring them home with us, they stay with us because that is the bond that we are connecting with them, and we want them to work only for us and solely for us. Them being at home with us also gives us the opportunity, if we get called out, that being if there's a certain event that we need to come out and use our canines with, we are readily available, don't have to go down to the PD, go pick them up. We have them at home with our take-home cars, and we can go respond to calls as needed. Most of these dogs are very intelligent dogs, and they know the difference between when they're at home and their setting, where they're at home versus at work. You can see a dog's demeanor totally change. When I put on a uniform, my first 2 dogs, Max and Dorak, were like, time to work, let's go, we're gonna go. And they wanted to go to work. But once you got them home, they could flip that switch. When a dog retires, the handler that had him has the first, I guess you could say, dibs on the dog. If the handler cannot provide for that dog, or he gets another dog and they just can't have both dogs at the same time, it'll go out to other individuals in the police department. Most of the time when that happens, somebody from the police department will take that dog. But for the most part, when you retire a dog, he stays with you and you keep him at home.
I'm Officer Drew Westrom. I handle K-9 Robbie, and we've been a part of the K-9 unit for coming up on 5 years now. Myself and Robbie, we are strictly narcotics detection only. We are trained to go out and identify the substance or the odor of 8 different substances when needed. When I initially joined the police department, obviously it was to continue on with my community service and helping the general public, but it is always my ultimate goal to become a canine officer for the Sioux Falls Police Department. And I was fortunate enough very early in my career to be able to get that position in roughly 2.5 years into the police department. And it's something that I aspire to try and stay in some fashion involved with the canine unit throughout the duration of my career. The connection with the dog definitely comes. We have to understand that the dog is ultimately a tool that's utilized at our disposal and not available to all the officers. But that bond does come. It definitely takes a strong-willed individual to understand that your dog could be put in harm's way, but at the same time, you do make that bond just as you would a regular house pet. He is your partner that's with you 24 hours a day. So that bond definitely continues to grow throughout the life and career of you guys as a team, between you and the dog. I love my dog to death, so if we're out and we're actually working, try and do your best to stay away from the handler and the dog. Because a lot of these dogs are, their sole purpose is protection of their human partner. So coming up and running up to them could potentially put yourself in a bad situation. Just stand back, say we will certainly come by and we'll be able to say hi to you. But these aren't your regular house dogs. They are there to protect the lives of not just the citizens of Sioux Falls, but also the officers that are out there on the streets dealing with whatever it is that they got to deal with at that time.
Hi, I'm Officer Garrett Bruin with the Sioux Falls Police Canine Unit, and this is Canine Tommy. Tommy is a Belgian Malinois coming from overseas. Him and I have been working together for 3 years now, specializing in basically finding weapons and firearms is basically what we get called to a lot for the city, and also the patrol side of things. So as far as criminal apprehensions and building searches such as that. So for the patrol aspect, we use several different pieces of equipment, one being the electronic collar, just so we can kind of correct dogs from afar. The muzzle for when we're not using their mouths to bite people. We can fight in muzzle. This is from vested interest. We get volunteers or donations to get our dogs bulletproof or stab-proof vests for the city. And these are donated by private companies throughout the city and gifted to each one of our canines. And behind me is our bite suits, what we use day-to-day training for the patrol side, getting dogs actual bite experience on the suits.
What kind of music do you guys like to listen to in your...
Me and Canine Robbie, we tend to listen to just about everything. We're not in particular to one genre of music. In the morning, he likes The Crow, but a little bit later in the day, we tend to switch to a little bit of country, just kind of wind down for the day.